The fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, the Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Sports Fix listeners, do you tweet? So do we. So tweet with us 24/7 at the Sports Fix CLE.
This is Greg Pruitt, formerly of the Cleveland Browns, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Welcome in, everybody. We've got, there's all kinds of titles you could put on today's show. It's the last episode of the week. It's the last episode of the month, the entire month of August. Gone. Bam. Gone. Just like that. When we come back, we're already going to be into September, man. So we've got a short edition, and I'll tell you what, all joking aside, today I'm not joking when I say that. I have got to hit the bricks literally immediately upon the end of this broadcast and get things together and head out and lock and load for this first play-by-play broadcast, high school football that I'm doing tonight. So no joking today. We are going to hit it and hit it quick. I'm looking at 90 minutes and out the door, baby. So let's see if I can hold up to that. I really cannot mess around and monkey around with the time schedule at all today. We've got a lot to fit into the time that we do have, though, so let's just make the most of it. Welcome in each and every one of you to the Sports Fix. We're rolling. We are off and running with today's edition of the show. I am your host, for those of you new here, the Big Daddy on the microphone, J-Rocc, Jerry Myers, with you guys Monday through Friday. Not this coming Monday, holiday weekend, not back until Tuesday, but traditionally, Monday through Friday, live at noon, right here across the Sports Fix Radio Network. I conduct a little madness here each and every day. Sometimes you're listening on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide. Some of you listening right at the home base on the sportsfix.net. Many of you listen to us daily on Spreaker live and on replay and on Mixlr as well. Some of you even hang out with my boys over there in the Mixlr chat room, keeping it real over there. And many of you, thousands and thousands around the world, listen 24/7 on digital delay on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider. Many of you listen on SoundCloud and on Spreaker and CarPlay and Stitcher and all of their on-demand formats as well. Thank you guys so much for that wherever you are around the world, and many of you subscribe and download the show many other places that I didn't mention. So thank you guys all. As usual, another day, another month, baby. We put it in the books. Well, this one's just getting started. Let's look at the slate here. We've got, of course, talking some Tribe, talking some Browns. I'll get to them in a minute here. We're talking some Tribe. I'm going to throw it out there right off the top. Team O Destiny. And I've trademarked it. I'm lying. I didn't trademark it, but just take my word for it and don't try to cut me out of any royalties if you put it on a t-shirt. But Team O Destiny continues to rolling in to Kansas City. I'm going to talk some Tribe here in just a moment. Browns, we're going to talk Browns in the first segment of the show here when we come back from the first break. Jeff Gorman from Browns101.com will be here. Preseason, it's in the books. Finally, done playing games that don't matter. We can talk about what you saw that you liked, what you didn't like, who sealed their spot on the team, who may have kicked themselves themselves to the curb. We'll talk Browns here with Jeff Gorman. Jonathan Knight, the sports writer extraordinaire. Him and Jeff Gorman kind of flip-flopped the script a little bit on us. Jonathan Knight coming up just about 35 minutes from now. We're going to talk to him about the latest this week. He's got some thoughts on the Browns and Josh Gordon and the Indians, and I'm going to throw Team of Destiny at him, and I'm going to see if he laughs back in my face like Mike Brandenberry does. Of course he will. Of course they will. That's why I stand alone. Because doggone it, this is a team of destiny. Anyways, talking Buckeyes as they prepare for a season without Braxton Miller. Getting ready to kick it off tomorrow. We'll talk about that. We'll preview the Indians in Kansas City. All that, so much more. So let's rock and roll and do it and start right with that Team O Destiny. And I'm going to start with you. I'm still going to open up the phone lines just because we got to hit it and keep it moving. Does not mean that I'm not talking to you because I've got the microphone. You are still the voice. You've just got to make that voice a little quicker today. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. The number to call. If you can't get to the phones, then hit us up on all of our platforms on social media. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Email us TheSportsFix@AOL.com. I want you guys chiming in. I'm sitting here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty lonely in the Team of Destiny category. The majority of the people hitting me up think I'm insane. I don't care. They thought Einstein was insane too. Geniuses are confused for crazy people for a long time until people realized they were geniuses. I have realized that is just going to be my lot in life, and I'm willing to take one for the team, guys. I will bear that cross for you, baby, to make this Team of Destiny happen. But anyway, so hit me up, Facebook and Twitter, and email me and let me know, thesportsfix@AOL.com, what you guys think about the show, about the Indians, the Team of Destiny. Am I crazy? You tell me, my man. I'll tell you what. And real quick, I mentioned it at the beginning of the show. For those of you wondering what I was talking about, if you haven't gotten the details, tonight, if you want, check me out. I'll give you all the details at the end of the show. I'm incredibly fired up. And I'll tell you what, I could have moved the house this morning, man. I hit the workout first. Early, throwing weights around. Pumping, sweating. It's been a busy morning. I'm ready to rock and roll, baby. But play-by-play tonight, the Kirtland Hornets, defending Division VI state champions, taking on Eastlake North and the Rangers. I cannot wait to call that one tonight. WINT 13:30 a.m. is the place you can hear it locally here in Cleveland. Nationally, for many of you, just like you listen to the Sports Fix, you could go to tuneinradio.com and find 1330. You can listen directly on their website like you do our show here. I just about said thesportsfix.net, wintradio.com, or they also stream, I believe they feed their show on Ustream as well, which is a video service, but they feed the stream of what's going on their station there. A lot of radio stations have gotten into that as well. It's another place that you can check it out, but I'll give you all of that at the end of the show. Fired up. I cannot wait to get into that. And I'll make sure I hit you guys up as well on the fantasy football, because this weekend's going to be your last chance to get yourself entered for that final slot. Because when we come back on Tuesday, we're drafting Tuesday night. So now that all of the formalities are out of the way, let's get back to Team O Destiny. And that would be the Cleveland Indians as they continue here. I'm telling you guys, I have fun with that. And of course, look, you guys, I'm with you. I watch the same stuff. I'm having some fun with this because this is what you do when you get down to the stretch run. You got some games to play that mean something, man. You don't move on. You don't kick that investment to the curb. You dig in the trenches, and the Team of Destiny is doing just that. Now, I'll tell you, they have their destiny in their own hand. All joking aside with that word, we've mentioned that several times here, and it's here. It's on you. You're heading to Kansas City, and that's a little bit, I noticed, I can't remember. I hate when I talk about an article and I don't remember who wrote it, but I remember seeing it wasn't even the article, it was the headline about how this year the Indians' late season games that are meaningful, that everybody gets excited about, are against other contenders, not just an entire slate of tomato cans, which I dig, man, because again, if you can't beat the other teams that are right there with you, then you don't deserve to go anyway. And if you do, I don't care if you played 500 until the beginning of September. If you start going to town against the other teams that are right there with you, then you deserve to go. And I'm not looking at playoff matches. You know, Mike Brandenberry, he had a great article this week. And you know Mike, man, he gives you the good and the bad, man. And But he, in one sentence, he's like, hey, man, this is, it is what it is. And even if they chase it down, he reminds you of what you're looking at the end of the season. When let's say you get into the playoffs and you start looking, oh man, look at this team's rotation, look at that. You don't do that though. For now, you got to get there. You can't even look past these games you've got to chop down. Speaking of, Mike, actually, he sent me a text right before we went on the air here for you guys, knowing that we were going to start off talking about this. Tribe's got 30 games remaining on their schedule. If they go 20-10, which is 2 out of 3, which is the key number that we've pretty much nailed down, they have to win 2 out of 3 all the way across. So if they go 20-10 through those games, and hey, in the 10-day stretch since we said they have to win 2 out of every 3, they've won exactly 2 out of every 3 coming along there. But if that happens, Seattle and Detroit simply have to play 500 ball for the Indians to force a tie, and then obviously anything less than that, they could play their way ahead of them. But they have they need to go 15-15, no better. If either one of those teams plays better, and that's of course assuming the Indians record at 20-10, then the Indians could run it down and get the wild card, run the wild card down. So looking at the way those teams have played, 500, it's not like you're sitting here going, well, they can only win 3 games the rest of the season. That's a realistic goal, but you have to win the ones in front of you. And it becomes more realistic when you state the obvious, which is that you've got games in hand against the teams coming up here that you need to beat. And that starts with Kansas City, as you've now, the deficit is now down. I believe it's 5.5 now with the victory last night, back down to 4.5 in the wild card. But that's Kansas City. That's the team that you're chasing at the top. It sounds a little bit different when you're used to saying you're chasing Detroit at the top. You got to get yourself a little bit used to the difference there in saying Kansas City ahead of Detroit. But that is what you're doing, and you've got those games right there with Kansas City sitting in front of you for the Indians to take this weekend, and it's not easy, that's for sure. But you know what? I'm going ahead of myself even. I'm not even trying to get there. And I was wrong. I'm sorry. They were 4.5. They're now 4 back of the wild card. They've got themselves back to 4 back of the wild card. Kansas City lost last night in extras. So the Tribe, as I said, 5.5 back, and 3 big ones here coming up this weekend. The trick is, unfortunately, as we've mentioned, there's such a big difference in winning 2 out of 3, winning 3 out of 3, losing. Oh, hey, get off me in the chat room. I was off by a half a game, man. But no, I love you guys, man. But that's part of the difference too. But you can't even look at it that way. You got to start with one and take the first one. But I'm looking ahead. Let's talk about last night. Indians, a series they should have swept, and I think they'd be the first ones to tell you that they missed an opportunity to sweep that series there. Carlos Carrasco did it again. Since he was put back in the rotation, he's just been nailing it each and every time. 4 straight great appearances for him since going back in the rotation. I don't know if we should buy this or not. Obviously, I'm taking it with a grin on my face right now. Is this real? Like, for future reference, not just for now. Is this the real deal? Is this finally the Carlos Carrasco that 5 years ago I saw Al Chimicella from the Diatribe? He tweeted last night something, said, it may have taken 5 years to get here, but, if this is truly what Carrasco's turned into, does that change the way you look at the deal, the Cliff Lee trade and what they got out of that? And I'll tell you, I don't know about that because that's projected next year for this guy. But what do you think? Like, is this a mirage or in the middle of the summer here, or is this legit? Because all of a sudden he is the pitcher that all along the Indians and every other team and us thought that he could be. And look at him again. Last night, 1 run, 6 2/3 innings. In his 4 starts in August since returning to the rotation, he has given up 2 earned runs in 24 2/3 innings pitched. That's a 0.73 ERA, and he's got 24 strikeouts. He's averaging a strikeout an inning. This Carlos Carrasco right here, that's a difference maker in your rotation and in how you plan things for next year. But that puts the Indians, I'm trying not to do this future talk, but man, that puts you in a strange situation, and we can discuss this more in the next few weeks in the off season, because the Indians have to ask themselves and be asking themselves right now the same question that I just said. Is this real? Because do you go into next season banking and going, man, we've got Carlos Carrasco doing what he's been doing, or does the clock strike midnight? Does Cinderella does it turn back into a pumpkin? Is the ball over at midnight? I don't know. I'm glad I don't get paid to answer that question, but man, he's been so solid and so lights out that maybe it has, because the talent's always been there, and now we're starting to see maybe he got out of his own way.